In this James the Bike Guy, we're checking out a rowdy, mid-level, hardtail trail bike. A bike from a smaller brand that you may not be as familiar with, but one that makes some pretty cool things, including this bike in front of us. That's right, we're checking out the 2022 Salsa Rangefinder. And this particular one happens to be in the Advent X 10-speed wide range drivetrain. So we're gonna go into some of the features and designs of this bike, talk about who and what's it for, and then of course, we'll end off the video with exactly what it weighs. So if this kind of thing is interesting to you, go ahead and hang with me, as well as consider hitting that subscribe button so you can see more videos like this in the future. The Salsa Rangefinder is a pretty neat adventure-ready hardtail. And by that, I mean this bike has geometry that should allow it to be pretty rowdy. It's still in a more affordable price point with this model starting just over $1,000. And it's gonna go up really well against bikes like the Trek Roscoe 6 or the base level Specialized Fuse. And where this is going to really differentiate itself over those bikes are going to be things with adventure-ready specifications. Things like bottle cage mounts, the ability to run racks, all sorts of options like that are what's going to help allow this bike to compete really well. And what's interesting, the version we have in front of us here is the 29-inch version of the bike. So this bike is available both in a 29er or a 27.5 Plus. And it's running 120 millimeters of front suspension. Fork on the front end of the bike is going to be SR Suntour's XCM 32. This is going to be a fork with 32 millimeter stanchions. It has 120 millimeters of front suspension travel. And then on the top of the fork, you'll have an adjustment for your compression. So you can lock this down almost totally locked out and then open it up. On the other hand, you've also got a preload adjuster, which is going to make pretty minute adjustments, but allow you to stiffen or lighten the front end of the bike. Now this fork does go through that tapered head tube, so it makes it a nice, easy place to upgrade in the future if you needed to, and it happens to be Boost 15x110 up front. Now the frame is made out of aluminum, so you'll have a nice alloy frame. You're going to have internal cable routing, a tapered 1.125 to 1.5 head tube, and then really neat mounts on the bike. So up top, you've got a mount for a bento box. You've got a triplicate mount for a bottle cage or adding some storage on the down tube. The seat tube has 2 mounts to it down below. On the bottom of the down tube, you've got 2 more mounts. And as we go back, we see a threaded bottom bracket going to a rear triangle, which has mounts for racks on the back end of the bike. So you could use this definitely as an adventure bike packing rig if you wanted to, with nice big tires. You could even create it into a super rugged commuter or just an awesome, entry to mid-level mountain bike. Cockpit wise, we're speccing some nice super wide alloy handlebars. These happen to be the Salsa Salt Flat handlebars. They're 750 millimeters wide and a small through extra small. And then on the larger bikes like this one, it's got a Salsa Rustler handlebar. This is a super wide, 800 millimeters wide on a size medium bike. And then it's connected to the steerer using a Salsa Guide 31.8 stem. Pretty standard alloy 4-bolt stem, so an alloy handlebar and stem combo. And going out back is the WTB Volt saddle and 135 millimeter, and then the Salsa Guide alloy 30.9 seat post. As I said before, seat post able to be run with a internal dropper should you add one in the aftermarket. And holding on to those handlebars are going to be Salsa's file tread grips. These are just a slide-on style grip, nice traction to them, and personally they actually feel pretty good. The drivetrain on this Rangefinder is Microshift's Advent X. So Microshift is a little bit smaller brand that's really seen a come up with their new Advent drivetrain, which is a 1x specific setup. That means this is designed to run only 1 ring up front and then a super wide range cassette and back. And this cassette is pretty wide, so it's a 11 tooth all the way up to a 48 tooth, which means this is going to have nearly the same range as a traditional 11-speed 1x drivetrain from, say, SRAM. And the Advent X derailleur is clutched to keep the drivetrain nice and quiet and runs forward to this FSA Alpha Drive crankset. The Alpha Drive crankset has a 30-tooth narrow wide chainring on it and is connected through a threaded bottom bracket. Slowing the bike down is the courtesy of the Tektro Gemini SL brakes. These are a hydraulic mineral oil brake. They have 2 piston calipers on the front and the rear, operating on 160 millimeter center lock rotors. Keeping the rangefinder connected to the ground are some Maxxis Recon tires. These are in a nice super wide 29 by 2.6 inch width. You can see the Recon has nice fast rolling tread, but some pretty significant side knobs to the side to help connect it. And then down low are the WTB ST I30 rims. These are 30 millimeter wide internal width rim. They are 32 spokes and they run through a 15 by 110 boost front through axle and a 9 by 141 boost quick release rear end. The actual weight for the Salsa Rangefinder size medium comes in and weighs 32.06 pounds.
Putting the weight into perspective, it comes in at just about the same weight as the 2020 version of the bike I reviewed, and then it's going to come in a bit heavier than the 31.22 of the Roscoe 6, while also being heavier than the Specialized Fuse at 29.89 pounds.
Well, thanks for watching this video on the 2022 Salsa Rangefinder. This Advent X version of the Rangefinder with 29-inch wheels offers a pretty unique package, at least in my opinion. And I'm curious to hear yours down in the comment section below. So go ahead and leave those messages down there. While you're at it, be sure to hit the subscribe button and let's go ahead and check out the next bike together.